Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things going on in the real estate industry, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success, guiding you to the top 10%. I'm your co-host, Curtis Haddock, alongside these two other co-hosts that are amazing and wonderful and awesome, Brooke Massey and Casey Tudor.
Here I am.
Why did he get like a voice raise excitement?
Brooke Massey!
Thank you.
And I'm sensitive.
Hey, I was on my way in this morning, and I was thinking about our podcast topic.
Yeah.
And, I was thinking
Let me guess what you were thinking about.
Probably switching brokerages. And
Oh,
what does
ouch.
that entail?
Yeah, I'm switching.
The way you said that, you're like, switching brokerages. I'm out of here. Is it because I elevated Casey's voice? Or
Yes.
his name?
Yes. No, but let's talk about, I'm not switching brokerages, but
I know.
let's talk about looking for a brokerage, or if you're somewhere where you're not getting all the help or the full support that you're needing for your business, and you need to go somewhere else. What should you do? What should you look for? And different things like that.
Or if you're brand new and you're interviewing brokerages, right? And I guess let's start with what are the main things that are people's go-to that aren't necessarily things that they should hold much weight in, because if they do, a lot of people will brokerage hop and it takes forever to find the right brokerage, and it's because people aren't looking for the right things and they're not doing
Right.
due diligence correctly.
Yeah,
So
they need to make sure that the brokerage they choose is as close to their house as possible.
right,
And the
right.
commission splits are high.
Yeah.
Okay, there's
Just
two.
kidding.
There's two right there. Okay.
Or my best friend's there.
Okay, there's the third one, but let's talk about what you first said was it's close to your house.
Yeah. I don't want to be driving all over the place
Okay, and that's going to lead to success because
because I don't have to put as much effort into getting anywhere.
so that'll motivate you more.
Yeah.
To do more sales. No, but that's people's logic sometimes.
Right.
I'm going to go here because it's closer to my house, and then I can go to the office.
That would be it would be a plus. It would be cool.
Right, but if they're
But
not,
if you can't gain any traction,
or
there's
if
no
you're not,
point.
if you're not getting the support, and if it's not a structure that lends to your goals and your values, then
Well,
how's that benefit?
It's like, do you want to take a job half a mile from your house where you don't get paid, or do you want to drive 30 minutes and get paid a lot of money?
Right, and
Yes.
not to say the brokerage close to your house isn't the
Right.
fit. We're just saying, don't make that the reason.
Right.
Like we've heard excuse after excuse after excuse as to why people will choose a certain brokerage, and that's just one of them, and it's one that just doesn't make sense to me, anyways, unless
The office
it's just a plus. If it's close to your house, it's a plus.
For
Yeah.
me, it's more important where you live. Like I would never want to live so far outside of the city that it would take me 30 to 45 minutes to show a house somewhere, because
Right.
that would be draining, especially if you have a client who you're showing houses to every evening.
Yes.
You have an extra hour and a half of your commute time. So I don't want to live in the middle of the city necessarily, but I live right on the outside edge, so I can
Live in
still
the
get
burbs.
anywhere.
Yeah,
in
turnpike's
20,
right there.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah.
So my
Well-
office will always be within 20, 30 minutes too, because I don't live so far away.
Right.
I also love, at first it was where I live is just in the boonies, and it's just a long distance. It takes 35 minutes to get anywhere. Sometimes with traffic it'll take 45, 50 minutes, and I come to the office every day. And so when people tell me that excuse of it's too far for me to drive in order for me to come into the office to get anything done, I don't know. I
That
don't
just
know if,
tells me that success is too far for them.
right,
Because it's the office, just because it's an office, but what's inside the office, and what does the office provide? Does it just provide four walls and a desk and a chair?
right.
Most places, yes.
I mean, that may help people, right? But I can also find four walls at a coffee shop or somewhere else with a library. There's
Yeah.
plenty of public places already But I want an office that provides culture and people, and where I can get my questions answered if I have it, or I learn something else from somebody else.
And it's 2024. There's technology that makes things virtual, to where if literally going to the office is that big of a drainer on your day, well then attend virtually, right? Mm-hmm. Just make sure that you are communicating with people and
be involved.
Get just engage. Engaging is so important, but that's once you choose your brokerage and make sure you engage. So that was the first one. Anything else on office being closed?
Well, I'd just say if you're new, you need to be in the office, because that's where you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be in the office, you better really have what it takes to be determined and disciplined.
I mean, most of the time, our office really is our cars, right? So, I mean, there's some days that I do come into the office and I'll work on my computer and then I leave to my appointments. But there's some days that maybe I just have to do 30 minutes or an hour of computer work, and then I'm in my car the rest of the day and then come in the office later. So it's not like I'm in the office all the time either.
Yeah. I was going to say...
So you should be out there working on your business. I had a point. Sorry.
No. I mean, hopefully people gathered that by what you said. Definitely, and yeah, a lot of the time you are going to spend in the car, driving to appointments, showing property, and not necessarily in the office. There will be a lot of office time for when it comes to prospecting, building your systems, getting your back end set, all that stuff. There, unless you're able to self-motivate at home, which I think a lot of people have a hard time being 100% efficient when they're in their home environment, because everything is a mindset, and your mindset at home that's home. That's where I relax. That's where I'm with my family. That's where I do X, Y, Z, and those things are there, and they're going to tempt you to. It's okay to take a quick break, and then
my house gets real clean.
Well, I mean, there's so many distractions at my house, and I do enjoy being able to work from home every now and then. But if I was going to do it every day, I think that there would just be way too many distractions, and it would prevent me from getting my job done. Now, that's just me personally. Everyone's different and has, some people can lock themselves in and have a separate space in their house that's specifically for an office. And to me, it's like, you can get into that mindset when you're in that space, right? Yeah. So as long as you can, make sure that you're in that mindset of it's time to get work done, and everything in the house can wait, and you're prioritizing work, then but everyone's different when it comes to that. And but the point of all this was the location of the office is just a bonus if it's close. It should not be the determining factor on your choice of brokerage. And whenever I get this excuse from people, or when people tell me the office is too far for them, and usually when I hear that, it's people that are struggling and that aren't making enough sales, and I tell them, well, come into the office and let's get you going, and like, well, the office is just too far, I don't have time to make it in, and we've talked about get rid of I don't have time from your vocabulary. You are not prioritizing coming to the office, which is a totally different mindset in and of itself. But the test that you could give people when you hear that is, okay, if this were a W-2 job and you got paid a paycheck every 2 weeks, and whatever the job was offered you a salary position of $150K a year, let's say, right? Would you make the drive? Would you make the drive into the office from where you are now?
Yeah, because now you're rich.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they're gonna think.
Right. Well, but that's also a salary that they have probably never seen when it comes to a W-2 job. And
there'll probably be people that drive to Dallas every day for that kind of money.
There probably is.
But they wouldn't drive. They wouldn't drive to the office to make that.
30 minutes to make more. They potentially make more than that, and they're building something for themselves when they're doing this, as opposed to the company that hires them.
Yeah. When I'm doing interviews and talking with agents, especially new ones, it's always so funny because I'm always like waiting for the question. You know, they're like, I have some questions, and I'm like thinking, of course you do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm here for, to answer. And then they'll say, what's one they always ask? So what's your commission split? Or they'll say, how's your marketing department? And it's just like, it's like, what Google search did you get these questions from? Or which one of your parents told you to ask these?
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, my concern, I didn't ask any of those questions because, I don't know if it's just because I had like entrepreneurial experience being in the barbering world of having to build my own clientele and stuff like that. But like, I was more concerned of like, how do I build something up and not lose it? And how do I get to the point where I can let my other job go?
Yeah. I was like, how
So
do I
that's
figure
what
it
my
out?
mind is at. Like, I just want to learn
How
how
do
to
I
make a lot of
learn?
money.
How do I learn?
Yes.
How do I learn this business?
But
That
I
should
don't
be.
care about the marketing department.
Yeah.
And I hate that question anyways, because it's like, these days, if you want to be in real estate and you want to be relevant on social media, which you don't have to be successful, it's a really useful tool. But I know agents who don't use it who are super successful. But if you're going to do that, no one is going to care about your business as much as you.
Yes.
And no one can replicate your personality. And so it's like, if
And
you
no
go pay
sign
someone
can
to
either.
do these things for you, it's not going to truly reflect who you are, which
Yep.
is going to prevent you from building. Now, that's not to say like, you can't get to that point where you could hire a team and do that, but it's all going to start with you. Like, you have to be a content creator and learn how
You
to
have to
do all that
engage and
stuff.
do the work and
No one
put the
can
time
teach you
wear all
that
the hats.
stuff because
No.
it looks different for everybody.
Well, and it's so big and it's scary, and there's so many different ways you can go about it, but you just got to find what you can do that's doable for you and your schedule, and just be consistent. That's all.
Right.
What was the second thing that was brought up?
Commission splits.
Commission splits. This one, let's do that one last.
Okay.
What was the third thing that was brought up? Was friend.
Yes.
Because I have a friend. And many times that friend is who encouraged you to get into real estate to begin with. So
Yeah,
there's
I was
this
gonna say,
feeling of obligation that you
This
got
is
to go
not
there.
always a bad thing either. but,
Well, no, I mean, and again,
you just got to look at it, right?
it's one of those things where it should not be the basis of your decision. If your friend is there, then make sure that the reasons that your friend chose this brokerage align with your goals and aspirations, and that you can work within the framework that the brokerage has set up. You know, what does the brokerage believe? What do they stand for? What is their? I mean, a great way to learn all that is look at their mission statement. Do they even have a mission statement?
Yep.
Is it generic?
Right.
Like
Could you
family,
could you
love,
apply-
trust.
Yeah, could you apply it to your life and it makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it does, you know, when you go meet with these brokerages, ask about it. You know, why is that the mission? You know, how'd you guys come up with that? You know, and how
do
are
you
you?
implement that?
Yeah, how are you making sure that you are achieving that mission? Because I look at a lot of brokerages, and I'm not going to say any names, but when you look at who they are, what they represent, their splits, their structure, they don't stand for anything, or they have a false sense of what they do stand for. You know, they might say, you know, we're here to, I don't know, make the lives of agents better and help them be more successful, right? Or agent first, I hear a lot, or whatever the case may be. But then you look at the policies and the structure and how their system is put in place, and you see how that caters to the businesses being first, not the agent being first, or it caters to nothing in some cases. Like, it's like, well, we just exist because we exist, and we started this brokerage because our ego was really big, and we wanted to, you know, we saw other X, Y, and Z doing it, and we thought we were better, so we wanted to do it too. Not that that's everybody, but they got to have some sort of purpose. Again, go back to like their why. You know, we tell our agents first thing you got to do is figure out your why. You know, why did you even get a license? If you can't answer that question, then you better figure that out.
And if it's just to make a lot of money, that's not a big enough
It's
why.
not it's not enough to get you through when things are not going, you know, well, you know, and you will experience a roller coaster ride in real estate, no matter what. And it may not always be a financial roller coaster ride. It could be emotional. And so, you know, some people, like, they're making tons of money, but they're not fulfilled because, you know, they don't know why, right? And if they had a why, then they would know why. They would know why, because they would be doing something that's not helping them accomplish their purpose, their why. Got to have a purpose. The brokerage that you choose has to have a purpose and a reason for existing, because if they're not out to make the industry better in some form or fashion, then why, you know?
Well, there's so much greed out here in the real estate industry.
That's part of it, yeah.
I always joke about little did we know that we were going to get into sales to be sold things. And one of those things is one of the most important things, and it's the brokerage, right? And that we need to be at where we can operate our business so we can, you know, do better for our lives and whatever else. And because there's so much greed out there, and what Curtis is saying, like, oh, I can just do it better, whatever else, there's so many brokerages out there. Like in Oklahoma City alone, there's 950, give or take, brokerages alone. That's a lot. So that just tells me people just kind of go out and do their own thing. And there's nothing wrong with that either at the end of the day. But if you are an agent and you're looking for your business, just make sure you're really making sure you're reading everything.
Yeah, understand why they went off and did it on their own, or
are they just, are they really helping you? Because, like, my biggest thing is, if you go open up a business, any business whatsoever, and you quote unquote hire people, right? I know we're independent contractors and we don't work for no one, but you know, if a brokerage is taking on a new agent, or an agent in general, what are they doing for you? Or are they just letting you just sink or swim and they just make money off of you?
Yeah. That's what a lot of them do, right?
Yeah.
Is I know some brokerages, again, not to name any names, they offer every commission structure under the sun. And I like to bring that up, because what do you stand for when you stand for everything? Right? You're not being specific. You're not narrowing it down
That's
to
just trying to grab as many bodies as you possibly can.
Yeah, it just tells me that all you care about is, you know, getting anyone and everybody, no matter what the cost.
That makes it hard to coach and mentor, like, the agents that come on, because they all have different mindsets. Yeah. They all have different goals, and then you probably yourself have different goals. So again, why would you bring on an agent to not be able to truly help them and better them, right?
This is a broker telling the agent whatever they want to hear, giving them whatever they want.
Right.
And we've experienced that with other brokerages, just saying, yeah, you can do that, I'll give you that, whatever it is you want. It's good. Well, and then the person next to him's like, you didn't give me that, and then now the culture's destroyed.
Yeah, it really impacts the culture, and you end up like the broker or the owner, or the broker owner, right? Like, they end up with different goals than the agents, and when you have a different, when your broker or your owner has a different goal than you, then now you have to always question decisions and the intent behind those decisions. Like, why was this decision made? Was it for your benefit, or was it for me as the agent's benefit?
Yeah. What's the biggest? We forgot this one. What's the biggest crock? What's the biggest crock in real estate when you're interviewing at brokerages, especially as a new or a failing agent? What are you promised?
Oh gosh, I have a list.
Leads.
Well, I was gonna
hot leads, and that's an interesting one, because new agents are looking for that.
Yes.
Because they've been told that, or they just hear lead and they think success.
Yeah.
Whenever everyone is sold the same leads, and unless you're in a true lead system program. Like, there's some brokerages out there, like, they have 10 buyers agents, and then they spend $20,000-$30,000 on leads every month, and then they feed those agents, and then they take 50% of their commission split, and it's just a perpetual. It's just a job at that point for these agents. And again, I'll tell people all day long, like, there's no right or wrong way, but I got in this to be successful and be an entrepreneur, not to be told what to do.
Not to be a glorified employee.
Yeah, where you can't go out and make something of yourself.
Some people are that, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's all
and so
right.
that's why it's like, I don't throw leads in there as a reason to, like we're talking about now. Like, if somebody wants to choose a brokerage or a team because of leads, then okay. Then as long as when you make that choice, you understood what came with it, and that was your goal, that was your intent. Your intent was to build someone else's teams, build someone else's business, and you do not want to build your own. You literally are just it's probably a side hustle or or whatever, or you're just looking to gain a little bit of experience, and you don't want to go do it on your own and figure out how to, build your own foundation for a business. That's okay, right? If people want to do that, then by all means, if that's you, then go do it. Just make sure you understand that someone who is going to be giving you leads as part of their team or their system, you will be on the phone all day, every day, unless you got an appointment, okay? And to Casey's point, all these leads they're all the same in whatever marketplace you're in. And typically speaking, over the course of the year, we have learned that with the number of leads getting sold, that they're basically selling you the adults in your marketplace. So it makes sense why you need to be on the phone all day, every day, because you got to find the one that is actually in the market to buy or sell. You would probably have the same amount of success if you just went and grabbed the white pages and just went down that list and started calling. Now, make sure you check the do not call list. I want to disclaimer that. But you would have a better chance of doing that and getting not a better chance, about the same conversion rate if you just called everybody in your market, just randomly got a list of the numbers and started reaching out to them. So if that's what you want to do, more power to you. Just make sure that you are doing your due diligence. What's the work going to look like? What are you going to expect of me? What do you provide for me? Because the real estate industry has undercut commissions and squeezed margins so much that people lead with a value proposition of commission split and structure. Anytime I get a recruiting message from another recruiter, a brokerage or whatever, they always lead with, you want a brokerage that can make you more money, that can help you keep more money in your pocket. They're leading with money. And as we know, money is not the ultimate purpose and why that's going to build you a sustainable long-term business. Be future oriented. Think about what you want when you are retiring, and you need to now spend consistently work towards that. Don't work for the immediate gratification of today, right? You should work towards success today with the end in mind. And that's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people begin with the end in mind. You've got to be thinking about your future. If you don't, then you will be one of those people that could end up with regrets, or that you get to the point where you're like, oh man, I wish I would have thought about that before, and I would have done things differently. I would advise my younger self differently. Well, don't be the person that says, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Go find a mentor that tells you the advice that they would give themselves when they were in your shoes, and listen to it, right? Especially if their goals and what they want align with what you want out of life. So if someone is leading with money as a value proposition, be leery. Be very, very careful about that, because it's way more than that.
Well, most of the brokerages out there end up with the same. You'll end up with a relatively same number at the end of the day, because it's just how they divide it up. It's like, okay, we'll give you 100%, but then I charge you on the back end this, and that. And I always tell all these agents, like, there's nothing wrong with any of them. Like, if you're selling 45 houses, 40 to 50 houses a year or more, you're going to be making really good money,
Yep.
and you're going to be paying in something.
Yeah,
And
nothing's free.
Nothing's free. It just depends on what it looks like. There's nothing wrong. But if I'm a new agent, I'm wanting to know, like, how do I become you? Because I see what you're driving. I know where you live. I see that you're not worried about money, this or that. Like, I want to know how to get there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I told the last recruit I did, I was like, would you be okay if, like, next year, by the end of next year, you had $100,000 that you earned, even if it was at 50% commission? And she's like, yeah, because she wants to learn how to make money.
Let's learn how to do the business.
You know, and that's, to me, that's what's important. Now I'm saying, well, the good news is you don't have to be on 50% for a whole year.
Right.
But, you know, it's like, where does it start, and what are you willing to pay in? And how long do you want to struggle before you go hire a coach and pay in? Or
That's
switch brokerages
that's another
and
great one.
just
Is
run in circles.
How long do you want to struggle before you start to realize you can reach your goals? Because if you're not careful, you struggle long enough, you're going to get discouraged, burn out, and you're going to quit altogether.
And I see people struggle from day one, because we always tell people, like, hey, if you want to be in real estate, and you're 3 months from being fully licensed, you need to start now. And how many people start now?
None.
Barely anybody. And so that's already setting the stage that they're not going to do what you tell them to do, because they're going to wait, or they know better, or whatever the reason is. So now they want to wait till they pass their test to tell anyone. Now they want to wait till they get their MLS before they go sit in an open house, or whatever it is. And now the clock's already ticking, and their MLS dues are due every month, or whatever the case is, or they don't have a real estate paycheck. They're still working at their job.
It's a consistent reminder that they're not making money.
They're
and that, what am I
already-
doing? Why did I choose this career? It's not for me now. We think it's going to be easy when we get licensed, and then we get in it, and we're like, oh.
It is the weirdest curveball ever if you're like learning.
Oh yeah.
Weirdest
Oh, yeah.
curveball.
And it's hard.
Tell people you can't explain it.
You learn.
You need somebody.
You're going to be used to your job, your maybe one or two bosses, and whatever the case is, or your 4 employees that you work with every day, and then you're going to be thrown out to, like, almost nobody. But then you're going to try to find these people to get in front of, and then they're going to have these abrasive personalities that you're not used to. They're going to ask you questions you don't understand. If you do get a client, you write an offer, you're not going to know where to start, and so you're going to have to get help. Hopefully there's going to be uncertainty. What is my mentor going to answer like he said he's going to answer?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you have this, like, it takes you 3 hours to write a contract. Now you're discouraged because this is hard. Whenever really the end is like, well, once you get through this, it gets easier.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So the start is really difficult.
And back to the second reason was, just because your friend is there, that's not a good enough reason to go somewhere. It's a good enough reason to look into that brokerage. And if it fits your goals, then go for it.
If they're really going to help you and train you,
That's what I was going to
great.
say. Because if they're having a ton of success and they're doing well, be very careful, because I have seen friendships in this industry be no more because of an overpromise of how they were going to help, but they were too busy running their business to actually help. And really, it's not. I don't blame necessarily the friend who didn't help. I mean, I do if they promised that they would, but they probably were at a brokerage that didn't provide a ton of coaching and support and mentorship, maybe good trainings and
Didn't get
videos.
that either,
Or they
didn't
know
get
what it
it,
looks
so
like.
they
How to
don't
train
know.
someone. They've never done it.
They don't know what it looks like. No one's ever showed them. They didn't see it. They didn't experience it. And so for them, they think that they're providing a successful opportunity by giving just PowerPoint presentations. Hey, go watch this. Go learn this. And I'll see you on the other side.
Or read
you know?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it'll change your life. And you read it and you're like, that's great.
Hey, that really did change my life.
Yeah. I mean,
really-
because it's a mindset. It
Yeah.
changes the way you think about money. However, I'm going to assume that what Casey's talking about is just because you learn something doesn't mean jack. You got to put it into action.
Yeah.
You got to think big, do big.
That's right.
Okay, so the third reason that people choose a brokerage that they should be very careful of is branding, or the name, or
like
the
big box.
company history, right? Whether it's big box or whether it's somebody well known in your marketplace. And a lot of these go back to making sure that whoever that is going to provide you with an avenue to sell houses and to succeed. If you don't sell houses, then what does it matter? You got to be able to sell houses. And if the brokerage that you are with is not teaching you how to do it, then it's very difficult. To me,
Teaching how to scale.
yeah, 100% with systems and all that. Now, to me, one of the first red flags that a brokerage if a brokerage has this, I know there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me, but would be if there's a monthly fee. If a brokerage has a monthly fee, okay, then red flag number one. Why is that? Well, because they are signaling to me that they understand the 80-20 rule, right? That 80% of the agents are only going to do 20% of the volume. It's going to be very top heavy, which means there's going to be a lot of leechers or people who don't do anything, however you want to look at it. A lot of people that aren't doing anything,
Liabilities.
and liabilities, all of that, and they want to make sure that you're not sucking money out of their account. They're not making money. They got to guarantee that they're going to make money off of you, and the only way to do that is to charge you a fee. Whereas a company that doesn't charge a fee is telling me that they're confident that their training will teach you how to sell houses. And that's how they'll make money.
Yeah, not only does Bricks Realty, which I hear is a wonderful company to work for.
I thought we were going to not make names.
Not plug that,
Well, it was an
it's all
accident.
over our hat.
It already happened.
Okay, yeah. So what about them?
So a company like that will actually, they actually,
What about those
they actually
losers over there?
spend money on agents if they're not selling. We actually lose money because of all the systems and everything that's been put in place for them. And then if they're not using them, it's not benefiting anyone. So like we really want to make sure that our agents are selling, and the only way to do that is to show them how to do it and educate them, and not to hold any secrets back, and be available whenever they need help.
Yeah. Training is one thing. Field training is something completely different.
Oh, yes.
And it's not, I'll tell you guys right now, it is not easy to implement a field training system. When you ask a brokerage, do you offer coaching and mentorship? And they say yes.
But for 3 transactions or 5?
Right. But also,
But it's not the field.
It's not field. It's 3 transactions where go get a deal, bring it to me, I'll help you with it.
They need help getting the dang
They
deal.
need help getting the deal and being
Yeah.
shown what to do and how to do it. And that field training is crucial. And I'll tell you right now, and Brooke and I, we were just talking with somebody yesterday about how difficult it is to train new agents. Well, people get burned out just from doing regular book and contract training with new agents.
Yeah.
And let alone now you're talking about adding field training to it. Like, you really have to have a system that is designed and geared towards field training to have a successful field training program. Now, we do field training, and I would be the first to say it's not perfect, because we do rely on other leaders and other people in the company, but we have so much support of other leaders and our brokers that makes it a pretty darn good field training program. So I don't know what the point Oh, big box or the
Yes,
the
go to the
name,
brands.
the name, the brand. So, without naming names, a lot of people when they get their license, they only know the big names. I was guilty of this when I was going to quit my job and go full time in real estate. I wanted to go to it was the largest brokerage by total number of agents in the world. And so they must be doing something right. And to be that successful, they did something right.
Right.
They ran their business successfully. It doesn't mean that they had a good track record of teaching a large amount of agents how to sell real estate, because let's face it, 90% fail rate in the industry. And if you have the most agents in the marketplace, you're contributing to that failure rate, right?
You have a rotating door in and out, in and out.
To some extent.
It's a bad move to say to go to one of the big ones because you see online or something that like 10 of them are making a certain amount of money or sold, $10 to $20 million a year. It's like, well,
but 100 of them for every 10 are not.
Yeah, and they're going to have those bigger numbers because they've been in business for 40 years or 50 years. But that doesn't mean you're going to become one of them.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. In fact, those people that are killing it, either they've already got their little team set up or however they're doing it, and you're not really going to fit into that equation. And let's not forget to mention,
Not guaranteed. I mean, you may.
A lot of those like the traditional teams that only give you 50% and they feed you leads, they actually won't even hire you unless you have a good track record. So
yeah,
it's
some
like,
of them are like that. Yes,
because
100%.
and I get it, right? Like you want them to be producing for you when you're spending money on them every month.
Right.
Like it makes sense.
So you gotta protect your investment somehow, and the best way is to get someone with experience that you're not gonna have to fully babysit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like if you're a new agent, and there's always new agents, that's why there's schools that make money, because there's always new people coming in and leaving. The question you need to ask is, what is the plan for me to become successful?
Yep. How am I gonna learn this business? And just because it's a big name, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's automatically gonna get you there.
It's not the name. It's you that makes the deals.
Yeah, it's whether you have the motivation and the purpose, the drive, the why, whatever, and whether you're put in a system that aligns with your purpose and your goals, and that brokerage has to care about that enough about your business to want to see you succeed as well. And that's why I go back to a lot of these brokerages that just want as many bodies as they can. Casey mentioned it's sink or swim out there. So if you figure it out, great, we're going to make money when you sell houses. If you don't figure it out, that's okay. Our name will bring in more agents, and we're making a monthly fee off of you anyways.
Yeah.
So whether you sell something or not, I could care less. A brokerage that does not charge monthly fees, their motivation is they want to get you selling real estate, right? So that they're not, giving money every month for people who aren't taking advantage of it or using it or doing anything at all. The big and then the other thing is when it comes to like the customers, I've heard where people will say, well, what if people don't really haven't heard of the company? Some people believe the sign in the yard is going to sell the house. Like the brand of the sign will sell the house. Sellers think it. Agents that are newer into the marketplace will think it. And you gotta be careful of that, because the named is not what does the work, the training, and it is not what makes the sale.
Again, there's 950 brokerages in just the Oklahoma City metro.
Yeah, most of the public, they'll either remember your name or they'll remember your brokerage, but they probably won't remember both. And it's not really fair to them because people switch around so much that how can they remember where you were?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so the goal then is for you to get them to remember your name.
Absolutely.
Right? But branding, don't go somewhere just because you've heard the name. Do your research.
It's a certain company.
Well, no, I would say never go somewhere because of the name.
Shop around.
Well, no, I would say, shop around. Make sure that you're picking based on the value proposition that they bring to the table.
It's where you fit in.
Because you'll still hear good things about certain companies. Your friends will still refer refer people. Your family may refer someone. Hey, I know so-and-so at this brokerage and it's really good. Well, then sure, 100%. Just make sure my biggest thing is like, don't just go to the one that your family friend said they have it, right? Go look at your options, because not one brokerage is the same.
One of our agents tells other people that are coming in and interviewing, he'll tell them like, I went to a big name and then I didn't even realize it until I found my current brokerage, but I was in real estate purgatory. Like, wow. It was just not a good time. Like, he'd go to the office and no one would like want to talk to him. You know, a lot of these offices have like little cubicles so these guys get in, or they have office doors that are shut. So you walk in and it's just like real cold and
quiet and no culture.
No culture. And of course there's people like, yeah, you know, let me know if I can help you in any way. And it really, that's really like, hey, you can come use my pool anytime you want to.
Just don't talk to me or
but
drink
you're
my
never
beer.
Invited, actually.
Yeah.
You know, don't actually invite yourself over.
Don't make it uncomfortable and really come.
Because I'll be out of town
Yeah.
if you say that.
Yeah. I want to play devil's advocate with you, and I would even go as far as saying, don't even make it about where you fit in, like personality-wise. I mean, that's a plus, but you know, and I wouldn't go all in on that, but I would say I want to. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. We have an agent that I would say, you know, is different than the majority of the people that are in this culture. However, they have chosen to be with us, and they've had opportunities to even leave and get out, and they don't do it because they see that the culture that they have put themselves in, although it is different than who they are personality-wise, it is helping them become a better person, and the culture is helping mold them into a leader and into a true business owner, as opposed to just fitting in somewhere and being buddy with people.
Yeah.
The system, the culture, the people are making you better, right? And you know, and that doesn't always mean that because what if you're not a natural leader, or you're not somebody who is, you know, you haven't had good mentorship growing up in life, and you are and you're more comfortable around other people that you know, that don't have ambition and goals, and that's where your comfort level is. Well, you got to challenge yourself to get around people that have goals and that want to accomplish big things, so that can rub off on you, and that they can teach you how to get into that mindset. So I say it with a grain of salt, because you know, it goes. You want to fit in, and you want it to fit your personality, but at the same time, make sure that you're growing as an individual and that you're being challenged.
Well, no, you should. And we're in the people industry, right?
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different, right? I'm going to connect with people 10 times better that are just like me, right? Like, hands down. But at the same time, if I only connect with them, then I'm only going to make so much money.
And you're limited to
right?
that.
I'm very,
group.
very limited. And again, we kind of talked about settling and not settling or whatever on a previous podcast. So same thing. So if I'm doing that with other people in the office, well, now maybe I go meet somebody that's a client and I convince them to use me, because now I talked to this person and I connected with them now, and
you
it
learned
challenged
a little
me.
bit about how they think and what's important to them, and
we need people. So you might as well just start learning people.
Diversity is really important, because you know, it can start in the workplace, right? Like you grow up and you have these social circles and you kind of get comfortable in them, and then you don't want anyone on the outside in.
Yeah.
And that makes people feel
cliques
neglected.
form, and
it makes them feel left out. And I mean, that's human nature, but we should fight it. And if you can do it inside the brokerage, then you can get more clients, because you're better well-rounded with other communities and cultures. And
well, everyone wants to be related to,
right?
But what society forgets is then they make a perception about a certain person or individual.
That's what I was going to say.
And then they say something to them, and then really it may offend that person, right? And so that's where the like kind of friction comes
and
back
there-
and
and there
forth.
may not
But
be
we
an
shouldn't.
intention.
It's not an intention. They're just trying to relate to you. So that's why I'm saying just be more open and learn those people, because it's just going to help you become an overall person in general.
Yeah, there's a guy
Business.
named Nate Johnson that teaches diversity classes, and I believe he does nationwide, because I think he lives in like Kansas City or something like that, but he comes to Oklahoma quite a bit and he teaches diversity. And it's kind of our approach with open houses or for sale by owners. It's like you go and you like kindly set doubt into their mind. Well, he kindly reminds everyone that's at the seminar that they do exclude other people.
Oh, it's like biases.
Yeah, like, you know, because
Well,
it's like, well,
like
if you come into a room and you say, well, I'm a Christian, but I understand this or that, well, you're already making sure that you fit in this circle by the first thing that came out of your mouth, instead of just being comfortable being with different people.
Correct.
Yes.
And
That could be with race or anything.
That's what I was going to say. That, and to both of your guys' points is, I always like to say proximity matters, and what I mean by that is, if you aren't around a group that is different than you, or around people that believe something different or have a different lifestyle or a different value system or whatever, but yet you want to say that you love everybody and that you are accepting of everybody, well, how do you know, it's really hard to say that if you aren't at least in close proximity to those groups of people that are different than you,
Right.
so that you can truly understand what makes them tick, what's important to them, what does offend them that you may not understand or know. You got to learn those things, because if you don't, then you're really just, you know, comfortable with the people you're comfortable with, and that's what you're going to gravitate to. It's like you can't be the you know, the person that's like, oh, you know, I'm around my group of people, but I you know, this is just an example. We'll just use race as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And race can be a touchy subject for a lot of people, but you can't be like, I really, you know, I love black people and I'm not a racist, you know, and I hear people say that all the time, but then as soon as they get
Right.
around it, they turn and they find a way to get away from that environment, or they don't take time to really get to know anyone, and they completely shut themselves out of that group. Whether they form judgments or whether they feel uncomfortable. Not that it's bad to feel uncomfortable, because you just
Because
don't know.
You don't know it.
But you gotta fight that uncomfortability, and it goes both ways with race, religion, social class, you know, again, belief systems, any of that stuff.
I mean, just an individual person to person.
Yeah, 'cause we're all
it doesn't have to
people.
be
Well, it's
any of
funny how
those
people,
things.
they actually believe that they're not prejudiced or whatever the case is. They actually believe that they're open-minded and they're not. And
Right.
I think that's the hurdle.
Yes.
Because I grew up, when I got into the barbering world, I'd grown up Southern Baptist. So I basically just went to church with white people, straight white people. And so when I got into barbering world, there's a lot of gay people around, and I was very uncomfortable because I'd never experienced it before. And then people just started assuming I was gay because I was a barber.
Yeah.
Or hair, and, you know, and it's like, you know, I was very offended by it, and I would, you know, no, I'm not. This not. And then eventually, I started getting comfortable with it. I started going out with my new gay friends, and realized I wasn't as threatened as I thought. And then when people started asking me that question, I'd say, well, it depends who's asking. You know, they ask me for
Like
and
making
not
a
make them
joke.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so like it's one of those things that I kind of put
were able
myself
to
in a
embrace it
situation.
more. Yeah.
I was able to embrace it, but I was kind of forced into it because of the people of the industry I chose. I was around the complete opposite of
Yeah.
what I grew up with,
Yeah.
and it's done me a lot of good.
Because it teaches you how to fight your own stereotypes that you have formed in your own prejudices, your own any of that stuff. Because naturally, we all judge. You know, everyone says, "Well, you shouldn't judge others." Well, it's impossible. Everything you think about that person, whatever, you're judging them. It's a good judgment, or it could be a bad judgment, or it could be in the middle. You know, but you're making a judgment, and so make sure that when you're making your judgments that it's coming from a place of education and of getting of knowledge and awareness, and so that you are able to be more confident in when you speak about it,
Yeah, so
I don't know how we got on this
I was
topic.
going to say that.
well, we got off topic a little bit, but it's not off topic because
Yeah.
when you go to work somewhere, like I think you want to find somewhere that, I mean, you may want to go find your people.
Right.
And again, there's no right or wrong way, but I think like what we're trying to do is change the way that real estate looks, so that way when the public sees a realtor, they see someone who, regardless of race, gender, sexual preference, they're thinking about, oh, these agents care about me. They might wear a t-shirt and jeans, but they really know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They really know how to go out and hustle and find me a buyer or whatever the case is. And the more diverse you are as an agent, the more business you can go get, and the better you can treat people. Right. You won't single people out. You won't be put in these uncomfortable situations, and it'll just.
And the more diverse the brokerage is, then you're in an environment where you can do the things that we're talking about, like learn different people and learn, what makes people tick, and be knowledgeable on those things, so that you can speak to it when you're out in the field and you're picking up clients. Well, now you can be comfortable with any type of person.
Yeah, I can. What I learned in the barbering industry is I can cut your hair if you're super liberal or super conservative. I really don't care, because I'm not gonna. My job is to give you a good haircut and get to know you, and it doesn't bother me, and I'm not going to argue with you about it. And when it comes to selling houses, like I want to sell a house to anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
The only people I can't sell a house to is people that I can't speak their language.
Right.
That's at this point, that's my only real limitation.
Well, prioritize that and learn the languages.
I'll just find some agents that speak those languages.
Rosetta Stone.
Well, I wasn't going to say Rosetta Stone, but I was going to say let's move on to the very last one, because I know we've been talking for a while. Commission split.
Oh God, this one's gonna take a long time.
Yeah,
We're gonna do our own episode on this.
Yeah, we won't go too deep into this, but the point is, don't choose a brokerage because you perceive that you will make the most. Well, not make the most, but you have the highest split, right? Or that they have undercut the competition so much, because what Brooke just said, there's a balance between support, coaching, and training, and mentorship, and split. The higher the split, the less support you have. And I see brokerages that try to put out there, you can make 100% pretty much with minus a small transaction fee, and we'll give you this and this and this and this. Again,
but do you need this, and that?
Right. Is that going to help you sell houses? And is that going to help you build your business? And are you really going to get those things? Because those things cost money. And is that brokerage able to make enough money to provide those things? And if your split is higher, I don't care what anybody says, the support is less, because there's less money to pay for the support and to provide the support.
People don't want to go to work for free. Your boss isn't going to go to work for free. Your clients aren't going to work for free. So there you have it.
Well, it's a balance. You guys are we're all business owners, right? So get out a pen and paper and start writing these things down, right? Your commission split, the CRM. Everyone should have a CRM. How many people
do you think do that? How many people do you think get out a pen and paper and actually put numbers to paper?
Nobody. No.
Yeah, because that's why brokerages are good at selling. Like, you get 100% of your commission, and then they leave it there.
They sell feelings and not like factual.
Yeah, 100%. That's amazing. And then,
which is a good thing to sell, but you should back it up with actual, like, real data. Go ahead, Brooke.
Yeah,
sorry.
Just make yourself your own P&L. If you don't know what a P&L is, you need to learn right now. It's profit and loss. How much you make off your commission split, and then how much you pay, and the resources that you have available that you have to have in order to make yourself successful.
Or to build a bigger business, or to do more business.
A CRM is a huge one, right? Either the brokerage provides it, or you need to pay for it outside of it.
Yeah.
So that's a big expense. So if a brokerage can go pay for it, then that's already a huge expense you can take off now. and be like, okay, great, that's one less thing that I have to worry about is taken care of. Okay, how much more money can I make? And then just go through all those things, writing contracts and stuff like that. You don't need all this extra stuff. You don't need to buy Facebook ads and all this stuff into your profit and loss and doing all that. But that's what you need to look at. All those different things and resources that actually make your business go to the next level.
It's interesting to me that someone that loves and cares about you as you're getting into real estate, like we all probably experience similar things. It's like, I'm getting into real estate, I decided I want to do it, and then what people are telling you is, it's going to be really hard to make it. Like, most people don't. It's a really hard job, but make sure that you ask what your commission split's going to be. It's like, to me, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because you're telling someone to go make the most amount of, what you should be advising them is, like, man, if I were you getting into real estate, I'd want to, like, talk to someone and say, like, how the heck am I going to actually do this? Like,
How do I make it?
What does my day-to-day look like?
And I actually, the person that came in and spoke to you a couple days ago, the younger guy, and I had a conversation with him, and I said, hey, when you go talk to these other brokerages, because we do advise, go meet with a few so you can actually see what's out there, so that we want our system to fit we want to know that they're choosing us over the competition because it's going to help them succeed and it fits their goals and all that. But I told him the question I would ask, if you are any brokerage that you talk to, and I would advise this to anybody watching that's thinking about switching or brand new to the industry, ask the question. One, make sure you know the person that you're meeting with that's selling you on this idea of doing real estate. Find out how many sales they have, like how successful are they, and
have them show you.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean if they don't have a ton of sales they won't be good. But who's going to support them in supporting you if they don't have that experience yet, right? So whoever's going to be the one, find out whoever's going to be the one training you, whoever's going to be the one supporting and coaching you. What is their track record? What kind of success do they have? Because that's the first thing, okay? And then once you find who that person is, the question you're going to ask that person is, if you could give yourself, your younger self, when you first got in the industry, one piece of advice when you first got started, okay, what would it be? What would that one thing be? And I have a feeling that 10 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10, okay, are going to say, shadow somebody, get a mentor, follow somebody.
That's what I was going to say.
No way.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is go find somewhere where you have multiple people to rely on,
Sure.
and not just one person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about what we do, and it's so crazy because you get multiple mentors, and those multiple mentors are paid, are mostly paid out of the company profits.
And they're learning more by being involved in more transactions than just their own.
Yeah.
Too,
And it's just wow, I got 2, 3, 4 people to go to, and I still get, a chance to be on the same level and system and make as much money as they could make.
Yeah. So people are saying that, man, that mentorship is important. Well, if it's important when you're learning the industry, how important is it when you're learning how to build a business, when you're learning how to sustain a business, when you're learning how to put systems in place?
Oh, yeah, 'cause
mentorship doesn't stop.
No, because
Yeah.
I'll just tell you guys right now, like, once you learn how to sell a house, or how to get a client, that's easy.
Yeah.
The rest of it is what's hard.
But you know what's more?
where you need all that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say what's more
Well, I'm gonna
important
cut
than
you off now.
mentorship is drive.
Yes.
Because I mean, out of all the people I've trained, it's like no matter how good I mentor them and how much I call them and follow up with them and explain theory and go on appointments with them, if they don't have the drive to go out there and continue and fight and do research on something they don't understand, or go to Home Depot and look at different flooring because they don't know what different kinds of floorings are. Go to Home Depot and have someone educate you on, like, get out there and invest in yourself.
Okay, so
if you can't do that,
you have
mentorship
somebody
is useless.
You have somebody that, which is why self accountability is so important, right?
Yes.
You got to hold yourself accountable, and having that drive is important. But you have somebody that. And mentorship is important for somebody, like, you're right, who has the drive. But now you brought someone into the business and you see that they don't have the drive, or you perceive that, man, they might not be as motivated as, because you can tell when you meet them, okay? What do you do? How can you help that person and fix that?
We're still working on that.
Well,
You can't care about someone's success
More
than they do.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
no,
can try to keep
that's-
them plugged in. I mean, you call them, try to
What's the
remind them.
one thing that what we can do to help them and use that one thing? If that one thing doesn't work, then I don't think anything will
Talking about
work.
helping them finding their why.
Yeah, look at you, man. If
I was like sitting over here and I was like, oh, I can hold them accountable. Is
Yeah,
that's what you
yeah.
want.
That's the one thing that I would do is like, listen, if I sense that they don't have the drive and the motivation, I shouldn't go any further in learning this business until I sit down with them and help them find their why. And there's been times where I've done that with people, and we go through the exercise, and they don't have any purpose. They can't even find a purpose.
That's the hard part, man. It's like, because people have this dream, like, oh, I can be a realtor, I can make all this money. And then what they don't think about, and this is why I always say real estate's a lifestyle, what they don't think about is everything they have to change about themselves before they can become successful.
Yeah.
Now, it's a journey. Like, you're not going to fix it overnight. But like mine was negativity, and I've overcome a lot of that over the years while I was doing real estate, because I could see how it would affect me or how it wouldn't affect me. And I think that's the one thing that like is really it's really hard, because we're not therapists, even though we kind of are.
I beg to differ.
But it's a lifestyle, and I was that way in the barbering world too. It's like I would cut a husband and wife's hair, and the husband's like, "Hey, do not repeat this," but blah blah blah, and then the wife would come in and be like, "Did my husband tell you about it?" "Nope, I didn't hear about that." Like
Oh my gosh.
so confidentiality, right? So I got a lot of that kind of practice in, and but yeah, with real estate, it's difficult because it is a lifestyle, and you have to invest in yourself. Period.
Yep. Mic drop.
Okay, everyone.
All right, as we come to
Thanks
an
for
end.
listening. No, would you rather, man?
Oh, we're not at the end yet. Okay, I have a really good one today.
Do you?
Oh, gosh.
Do you?
Okay, if you had 2 tickets to Taylor Swift
Okay.
and you could potentially make like $5,000 off of them, and so here's the would you rather. Would you rather, and let me
You have a
preface
bunch
this
of
with, you
trips
are a
planned.
huge Taylor fan. This is not just a flip to make some money.
Yeah, this is
you
not
are going
like-
to
yeah.
sacrifice a wonderful
So
experience.
you're speaking to a lot of people then.
But
Yeah.
these are
Yeah.
4-seat, Taylor.
Floor
These are floor
seats.
seats.
Like,
You have
a
an
true
opportunity to
Swiftie
make
dream.
like $5,000 or more.
And if you're not a Swiftie, then whatever is the equivalent for you.
Yeah,
for me,
Chris
I said the
Stapleton,
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, whatever.
Whatever's the equivalent ticket for you to have. It's floor seats,
Yeah,
field
World Cup.
seats, courtside, whatever it is,
Ooh,
the
World
best
Cup.
seats in the house.
That's bigger than the Super
for
Bowl.
that event.
Yeah. So you're guaranteed I'm gonna say you're guaranteed $5,000 profit if you sell these tickets, and you have two trips planned in the future, and you don't know how you're gonna pay for them exactly, other than earning more money.
But you guys know what the trips are.
Well, okay. So just say that both these trips are gonna
No,
cost
any
25.
trip. You have a trip.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to go in the world,
This is
you
way
have
too
a
much.
trip.
Would you rather?
No, it's not.
Sell your
No,
tickets.
because it has to relate to the individual.
Yeah, so this individual we're speaking about is single, and so we have that doesn't have anything to do with this.
So many details.
No. It basically is you have ticket for the best seats in the house to the event that would be the event of the lifetime for you, and then you have a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah,
that
so
you want to go on.
that you could fund it by selling your tickets. So would you rather sell your tickets and go on a vacation or 2 vacations that you've always wanted to go on, or would you just go to the show?
and
that's
see
it.
the event.
That's it.
I
So
would go to the show.
you would?
Experience. You can always make more money.
I'd probably sell it and like buy a guitar or something.
Well, it depends
I would
on,
sell the tickets.
I would sell the tickets because it depends on how much you could sell them for, right? I mean,
Now, if these
If it
tickets
was
were
$1
for
million,
if these are like
sure.
for my wife's birthday, I probably wouldn't sell them because I'd be in trouble for selling the tickets.
like if it was for her birthday, if she's the one who wanted to go.
Right.
No, this is for you, an event for you.
Yeah, I'm selling them.
So, yeah, it depends. Like, if I could only just pay for the trips and that's it, then I would go to the show. or the event, whatever it is. But if we're talking, I can pay for the trips, and I got thousands and thousands of dollars left over, like field seats or courtside seats to Game 7 of the NBA Finals. If you could sell those, or like one of those big time boxing matches, you know, like where you people
Even if it was Denver and OKC.
Even if it was Denver and OKC, and I could sit on the floor. It depends on how much I can sell it for. Like because like I know some some boxing matches. I mean, that you could sell some of those really big time seats for over $1 million a seat.
Wow.
You know, so if we're talking $100,000 per ticket and the minimum, I'm selling those seats
for sure.
If we're and then I would buy the nosebleeds.
Yeah, that's the thing about that. Then still go and just get worse tickets.
Yeah, and go on the trip.
And you could be sitting on the very back of the arena going 100, 200, 300, 400, 10,000.
What if you just sell one ticket and then pay for one trip? That way you still go and get part of your trip.
So when I went,
still get to go on your trip.
I got nosebleeds for the Eagles 4 or 5 years ago, and as we were up there,
like Philadelphia.
No, the band.
I'm sorry, yeah, the Eagles, the band.
Oh, like
we were on the very back row.
1950s?
Yeah.
50s? No, they're not a 50s band. They're a 70s band. So,
but no, in Casey, when he said Eagles, I first thought Philadelphia Eagles. And I was like, no, not Casey's talking about the Eagles.
Either way.
Well, I just wasn't expecting.
I was in the nosebleeds, and a guy comes up and says, "Hey, we have like a row of people that didn't show up. Do you want to go sit on the floor?" Me and my dad were like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
So we got like seventh or eighth row back, and we paid like $30 a ticket, and those tickets are hundreds of dollars a piece. So it was pretty cool, you know. And it's cool that we sat in the very back because that's where the ticket holders came. Came back to the biggest losers in the arena. It's like, you guys are pretty big losers buying the cheapest tickets.
Yeah.
It was a good time. You
I'm
should go
glad
see
you
the
had a good
Eagles.
time.
You should go see the Eagles because Vince Gill plays guitar for them now.
Oh, my wife is big, like 70s, 80s hair bands, just older music type.
So she'd know about it. This isn't a hair band. This is like classic.
No, I know. That's why I had to say
Name one Eagles song.
No, I don't know them.
Oh, sheesh.
But I go to Styx concerts a lot.
Have you ever heard of Hotel California?
I have.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
What about Surfing USA? That's Beach. Is that the Eagles?
No.
No, it's the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sing it.
No.
Give me the beach boys and free my soul.
No, that's neither.
What?
Yeah,
That's
that's.
what's his
I don't know
name?
who that is.
Uncle
Uncle
Cracker or
Cracker.
something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Nice work.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. Edit that out.
No,
That
Surfing
sounds like a
USA.
very
is
classic song.
Surfing USA. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
She only knows Taylor songs, obviously.
No.
That's why she's in this dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Doja. So, okay, guys, are we good?
I wonder if people watching the
Bye.
podcast could tell that I'm like falling asleep because I haven't gotten
never
sleep
noticed.
the last 2 days.
I never noticed, but we
I know
do
you
want to
texted me back
know.
at 2 a.m. the other
We
day.
do want to know what your opinions are on what you would do on the Would You Rather question. So put in the comments below so we can help our friend Lauren, who is single, make a really good decision for her life. She's not single? No? Okay. All right. So as we come to an end, we just want to thank you guys for listening to our podcast. And if you like the content and you want to hear more, please like, subscribe, click the little bell in the corner, and we'll keep putting stuff out because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of fun here, and we want to make you successful, and we want to keep the dream alive. So anyways, feel free to subscribe, and we will catch y'all on the next episode.